Okay, Hania, how long did I have to wait for you? Yeah. Okay, let's start this thesis defense. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi washabbihi ajmain. Amma ba'd. The next contender here we will have Hania. Hania, you will be the third contender of today's thesis defense. Yeah. And then your thesis title here is the effectiveness of using podcast in teaching listening comprehension. And your advisor is, who is your advisor?
Mrs. Lydia.
Okay, Miss Lydia Tuliza M.Pd. And then your examiner, it will be me. And your second examiner is?
Mr. Aswer.
Mr. Aswer. Okay. And how we are going to conduct this thesis defense? I'm going to give you chance to explain your complete thesis. And after that one, you're going to answer all of the questions based on your complete thesis. Yeah. And I'm the one that will share screen for your PowerPoint presentations. And then let's start this thesis defense here by reciting Basmalah together, yeah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's hope you can answer all of the question and then you can pass for this thesis defense. Yeah, best of luck for you, and then time is yours. Come on, you may start explaining your thesis. Okay, come on.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Okay. Today here I am will explain about my thesis, and the title is the effectiveness of using podcast in teaching listening comprehensions. And okay, next slide, Mr. Sorry. Okay, why I did conduct this thesis? Because Spotify is a music streaming service where I can listen to millions of music on it through various device. Spotify also provides a web player that that can access via browser. Through Spotify, user can listen to music from various genre and artists, both local and foreign. And Spotify has various features. One of them is a podcast, which better known as a recording of radio and television programs that can be heard repeatedly. And nowadays podcasts have become a more advanced medium, which the discussion is not just recording rebroadcast. Many of internet users start from a comedian uh, until a teachers in creating an episode of our segment uh, of a podcast to cover a specific topic, including teaching materials for students. Podcast is a program that can be applied in learning listening. By handling podcasts, can handle music, news, TV program, and anything else. And podcasts have two audio. The first is MP3, and the second is MP4. And these files can be downloaded for free. Podcast is an opportunity for teachers to explore new teaching style and uh, and teaching style and transform themselves into modern teachers and their classroom into smart space. And uh, the students listening comprehension, because podcast provides students with authentic and contextual materials. In addition, it can increase students' knowledge as they share podcasts they listen to. In addition, in teaching listening comprehension, podcasts are used as a primary research and learning tool in EFL classrooms. And this study aims to improve students' listening skills by using podcast. This process needs at least one speaker and one listener to communicate to communicate and to get the informations as well. And this process requires English skills, and one of them is listening. This verse describes listening to the Quran. God will give grace to those who want to listen to the Quran. God created man so perfectly see, hear, speak, feel, and anything else. So if we listen to the Quran alone, given the grace and guidance, and the study aims to identify the problem in this research as follow. The first is students find English lesson very difficult, and the second, students still lack of vocabulary, and the third is need effective media to teach listening skill in digital era. And next slide, sir. Sorry. Okay, the theory. The researchers conclude listening skills are very important in foreign language learning because key to language learning is to accept language input. Thus, the process of listening comprehension provides useful intuitions in listening instructions. It helps students understand the context of school's materials in the form of audio, and even better to other skills such as reading and speaking. And because the development of listening comprehension can help students success in language learning, there will ensuring understandable input. And listening is a very important process to be here. Through listening activities, we will get information from speakers and who enrich our vocabulary in making sentence. And language is a tool for communicate in daily life. However, as mentioned in the previous chapter, students face problems related to their ability to listen. And students also find afraid of making mistakes and less confidence about their abilities. Students also find that learning English is not fun. And this is because the methods or strategies used do not attract the students to focus on their teacher. Beside the lack of vocabulary to speak also become a further challenge. And next slide, sir. Okay, the methods, times, place, and the study. This research was conducted in SMP Muhammadiyah 35 Jakarta for the academic year 2020 and 2021. This school is located in Jakarta. The time was done, this research on January 2021, and the writer conduct this research in 6 meetings. I was start first meeting in January 2021. In the first meetings, researchers give a pre-test. After that, at the second meeting until the end, the writer was done the treatment with podcast. The last meeting, the writer gave a post-test. And the method of the study, these researchers use quantitative research, while the approach used in the research is an experimental study with pre-experimental design of pre-test and post-test type control groups with reference to quantitative research procedures. And researchers will determine the relationship between independent variables and population-related variables. And the experimental design is descriptive subject, and usually measure once of measure experimental subject before and after treatment. And there are two types of variables in the study. The first is variables X, the independent as a podcast, and while the second is the student's listening ability as dependent variable Y. And in the study, X variable is podcast will be used as one of the media in teaching listening ability. The instruments that are used in this research are objective tests, lesson plan of listening, which treat to students for 6 meetings. And the study used a quantitative pre-experimental design method in which students are given tasks before and after treatment. In analyzing data, in this method is called as t-test, experimental research. The t-test is used the t-test in analyzing data using pre-test and post-test. And the samples. The samples are target populations, groups that researchers have been chosen to collect target population data. The population of this study is 75 students at junior high school students in Jakarta, Indonesia. The data sample consists of one class only, and namely 25 students of class 7 SMP Muhammadiyah in the school year 2020 and 2021. And the technique of collecting data. Sorry, sir. Next. Okay. In the and technique of collecting data is in collecting data, the researchers use the students' listening test as an instrument of the study, and the students will be given pre-test in the first meetings. They will listen to learning materials. Then the result will be noted as the development of their listening skills until the end of the test. 13 multiple choice items for pre-test, the level of learning obtained during the research process in the result that the researchers knows after comparing the researchers' experience before and after the test. And the first is pre-test. In the first test, the students must help before introduce and use a method or technique. First, before the writer introduce and use forecast, the students should answer the pretest that the writer made before. And after that, the writer teach listening using forecast for the students before the pretest held. And the treatment, after giving a pretest, students are taught to use forecast on Spotify. It is used by the experimental class only, while not in the control class, and treatment was given at least 6 times. And the last is post-test. At least that test that must be held by the students after the students knows about the method or technique or the media. Therefore, at the end of the meeting, the authors give a post-test to find out the result of the use of this media and compare with each others. And the findings in this section reports the finding of the research. These findings are based on the data which were analyzed in this research was results of the test. And the participants of this research, these are the 11 grades uh, in SMP Muhammadiyah 35 Jakarta in academic year 2020 and 2021 were answered the test completely. And the data shown in this section is collected from student score before and after the listening test. And the first is the result of the student pretest score. Pretest score data for students of listening comprehension is that 2 students get 45 for their listening score, and 4 students get 50 for their listening score, and 3 students get 55 for their listening score, and 3 students get 60 for their listening score, and 3 students get uh, 65 for their listening score, 4 students get 70 for their listening score, and 5 students get 75 for their listening score, and only 1 student get 80 for the listening score. The mean of students pretest result was 93.18, and the highest score in pretest is 80 and the lowest score in pretest is 45. And that one student were good, for 4%, 9 students were enough, 39%, and 15 students were poor, 60%, and no one students were excellent and very poor. And the result student post-test score, the data of the student post-test score of listening, which it can be shown that the 6 students get 80 for the listening score, and 4 students get 85 for the listening score, and 5 students get 90 for the listening score, and 7 students get 95 for the listening score, and 3 students get 100 for the listening score. And the mean of students post-test result was 93.18, and the highest score in post-test is 100, and the lowest score in post-test is 80, and that 15 students were excellent, 60%, and 10 students were good, and no one students were enough, poor, and very poor. And based on the result of the above materials, students pre-test and post-test, I analyzed the result to determine the effectiveness of using podcasts for listening comprehension on Spotify, the significant score of students listening the test result, which was higher than 0.05, show that using podcasts gives significant effect to influence students listening of 7th grade students of SMP Muhammadiyah 35 Jakarta in academic year 2020 and 2021. And the last is conclusion. Okay. After introducing and analyzing the data in the previous chapter, the author concludes that podcasts on Spotify apps can improve students' listening skills. It can be seen from the students' program between pre-test and post-test. From the result, the writer concludes that podcasts on Spotify application can improve listening skills in learning process. That's it, Mister. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Hania Fadhila, for giving the explanation of your thesis. Now I'll try to give you several kind of questions based on your explanations. Yeah. First, the effectiveness of using podcasts in teaching listening comprehension. On your title here, you are mentioning about podcasts, yeah. And while giving the explanation, all the time you were mentioning about Spotify, yeah. So you are not mentioning about podcasts on your explanation, but you're mentioning about Spotify. So it will be better if you try to choose the type of podcast you're using Spotify. You can put Spotify in your title. Why in your title here you're mentioning podcasts, while on your thesis, on your explanation, you're mentioning Spotify. Come on, answer it, please.
Because in the Spotify, so many podcasts, and I think why I choose use the podcast and know the Spotify in my title. I shown my the application that I will use in teaching learning process.
Okay, I mean when you try to use a certain kind of apps, a certain kind of program, here you're using podcasts. There are many kind of podcasts, right? Yeah. And then you gotta put it clear. What's wrong with you? You cannot.
Nggak kedengaran, Mister.
What
Jadinya
happened?
suaranya kecil. Jadi aku.
What happened? Try to Increase your volume then.
Nggak kedengeran Mister speakernya.
Really? Try to maximum the volume then.
Try to mention, sorry Mister.
Try to put your volume on maximum so you can hear me.
Sudah Mister, tapi kenapa kecil ya?
Well, I have no idea because I really talk loud here, I guess. Yeah. Okay, so that will be the first. If you decided to choose podcast, there are many type of podcasts. There are many kind of podcasts. Yeah. And mentioning podcast, and then second one mentioning Spotify, I guess that will be different kind of term. Podcast here is one of the program that you can use to teach your students, while Spotify here is an app, yeah, that you can find many podcasts on it. Yeah, and then since you are not mentioning a specific podcast here, what type, yeah, that the podcast that you use for your research here, so you gotta give an extra explanation also from several type of podcasts, from the types of podcasts that you deliver for your students. Okay, Hania?
Okay, Mister.
Okay, that will be for your title. Second one, while you explain about the reason behind conducting this research, it seems like you are not giving me the explanation, but it seems like you read all the things. Yeah, you prepare some of the reason, and then you are not giving the explanation about that, but only a reading process. Yeah. So what I need you to do here, give your elaboration, giving your explanation based on several points that you put here. Yeah. Why did you conduct this thesis? You're mentioning practicing English listening skill is using Spotify as the media that provide any models about English learning. Yeah, about English learning podcast is effectively improve student listening skill. Here, it is your conclusions. Yeah, your background of the study. Suddenly, here you put your own conclusion. If you're going to use a podcast that you can find it on Spotify, so that can improve student listening skill. Yeah, so when you try to explain about the reason behind conducting this research here, it should be about the problem, yeah, faced by the student. It should be about the fact based on your result of observations, based on the fact, yeah, based on the fact that you found after interviewing the teacher or after interviewing the students. Yeah, that will be for your first chapter. Yeah, and then for your second chapter here, I don't need you to put all the details about this listening, but I want you to please, on the theory, second chapter of your thesis, you're going to mention first, since you're using, it is a podcast, so you're going to put, yeah, what is it podcast? What is it, the type of podcast that you use for your research, yeah, and then how to use podcasts, yeah, to teach listening, the step in using podcast in teaching listening, and then on that one you can put also the listening, yeah, the listening skill, and then all the details about listening skill, and then after that one on the theory also you gotta put, yeah, you gotta put listening, teaching listening, especially on the grade of the school that you teach in or teach for. Okay, that will be for your reviewing of the related literature. And then for your method, there are some random comprehension, I guess, from your method. From your method here, time, place, and the study. When you try to put time, place of the study, it should be between, yeah, in between. Yeah, just starting from January, and then when did he completed this thesis? Yeah, so it is not only time, place of the study, January 2021, and then junior high school Muhammadiyah to the pipe Jakarta. It's not like that one. When exact date, when exact month that you conducted, starting from the beginning till completing this research. Okay, And then your method here is quantitative research using pre-experimental design. And if I'm not mistaken, you are mentioning in the pre-experimental design, you need a control class on it, Hania?
Yes, sir.
Okay, come on. Now tell me the difference between experimental class and then pre-experimental, please. Come on.
I think pre-experimental design is just one class only that
Yeah.
that I research in the and that's in that schools and just just several just several peoples just several students that I uh, applied this method.
Okay, you are not answering me. The difference between pre-experimental design and then experimental design, please. What is it?
Uh, Experimental design just several just one class only, sir.
And then
I
if
think
it is one class only, why did you mention control class? Hmm?
control class it's the same with the pre-experimental design, I think.
The same with pre-experimental. You were previously mentioning when pre-experimental design, it is only one class. And then now you're mentioning you have control class. So it is not one class then. Come on. So what is it?
I use just only one class only and make several groups in their class, in that class.
Yeah, so you don't have any control class for your pre-experimental design. It is a yes or no, or do you have the control class?
It's a difference, sir. Control class and experimental design.
My question, in conducting pre-experimental design for your research, you have a class experimentally, or you have also control class for your research. Huh?
Pre-experimental design only.
Okay, so do you
Also,
have control class or no? Hmm? Hania, hello. Hania, hello. Hania, hello.
yes, sir. Sorry, the connection is poor.
Okay, so that's what you have to understand. While you try to use pre-experimental design here, there is no control class, but you're mentioning you're using control class. Yes, hence pre-experimental design here is only one class that you use. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. And then next one, you're finding here, from your finding, you are not even mentioned what kind of the key factor, what kind of the main aspect that lead the improvement between pre-test and then post-test. And then on your finding here, you are putting this this graphic, yeah? Excellent, good enough, and poor, and then very poor. We have here pre-test, yeah, and then we have also post-test. Yeah, on the pre-test here, we have three types: good, enough, and then poor. While on the post-test is consists only good and excellent. Okay, my question: there are wait a second. There are some impressive improvement Yeah, after you implement this podcasting. Yeah, first you're mentioning it is only 65, yeah, the average score, and then it is suddenly become 80. Okay, what was the main factors, the main reason? Why do you think here the improvement happened? Come on.
because because the students um, more better to to understand about the materials using podcast, and there uh, there can more understand um, the vocabulary before after the pretest.
And what kind of podcast did you use for this research? You are not answering my questions.
Sorry, sir.
What is it, the type of podcast? What the name of the podcast that you use? There are a billion, there are a million of podcasts, right? And then you are not mentioning what type, what kind, what the title, what the name of the podcast that you use and then succeed in improving student listening skill for your research.
Okay, my types of podcast. The title is learn English vocabulary. The materials is agree and disagree.
Only one podcast.
Yeah, only one podcast. So many the materials inside the podcast.
Okay, so one type of podcast that you use and then consists of many topic on it, many learning material on it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then for your conclusion here, okay, we can see there are really significant improvement. Yeah, the average score here is 62, and then next one is 89. That's really what is it? That's really hard kind of improvement. Yeah. Okay, Hania, I guess I hope you're going to revise some of your first chapter and then also your second chapter, third chapter, and then also your finding. Yeah, I want you to please try to be more focused on basic reasoning behind the choosing of your title, and then second one, the theory that you collected that can support your research, and then also the the finding of your research. Okay, and then I want you to please also revise all of the reference that you have, the reference that we can get, that we can take for our department here. It is the reference from 2010 above. If you have any reference below 2010, so you have to switch, you have to change the reference here with 2010 above. Okay, Hania?
Okay, sir.
And then you will have only 3 days. Yeah, 3 days only to revise your complete thesis. And then after 3 days, after you already submitted your thesis revision, and then I can announce if you already pass or no for this thesis defense. One more thing here. 3 days only to revise your complete thesis, and then after that you can get the result for your thesis defense. Okay, Hania?
Okay, sir.
Okay, I guess that's it. That's enough. And then don't forget, you owe me still the letter of acceptance. Next week you're gonna provide me with that proof. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, that's all. Let's close this thesis defense here by reciting Hamdalah together. Yeah, Alhamdulillah bil alamin, and then the last, Wallahu muwaffiq wal hadi ila sabilir rasyad. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.